Hey everybody, Mike Iaconelli here. Welcome to a brand new edition of In the Shop. And I've got a great one for you today that's very timely. Right now, a lot of the country, we're dealing with post-spawn, summertime patterns. The water's warming up, the fish are getting active. There's no better time than to topwater fish right now. Topwaters as a category is really big. You've got things like frogs, buzz baits, prop baits, but two of my all-time favorite topwaters are a walking bait and a popper. And I want to talk to you today's In the Shop about when to pick a walking bait and when to pick a popper. They're both awesome. They both catch tons of fish, but there are definitely times that one outproduces the other. So I want to talk to you about both style of baits, and then we're going to break it down and talk about when to pick which one. I want to start with the walking bait. Walking baits are also known as stick baits. Some people call them Zara spook style lures. And if you look at them, they all have the same basic characteristic. They're more long, slender baits, and they have the ability to walk side to side. And that's a really key movement on getting a bite with this style topwater. This is one of my favorites right here. This is a bait by Rapala, and it's called a Skitter V. Comes in some different sizes. One of the great things about the Rapala Skitter V is if you look at the bottom of it, it's got a V shape. It actually comes in toward a point on the belly. And that V-shaped bottom is like a keel, and it allows you to walk that bait a lot easier. So stick baits, you look at that lure, it's a great mimic of forage, can cover a ton of water. The other thing that's great about this Skitter V, it's got a single ball weight in the back. And if you listen, it makes a great rattling sound. Plus that ball helps you cast it, gives you weight to cast it. And it also will sit tail down, which is really, really key. A tail down position on the paws, okay? So we got a stick bait style topwater or a walking bait. And then the next one, another classic, can't tell you how many fish I've caught on this thing over the years, is a popper style topwater, a popper or a chugger. A lot of good ones out there. If you look at them, they all sort of have a cupped mouth. They have a hole or a little indent in the face of that popper so that when you twitch this bait, unlike the walking bait, the stick bait's going to go side to side. That one's going to shoot forward and spit or chug water. It's going to pop water out ahead of the popper. And it actually will make a little popping sound as well. It'll bloop, bloop, every time you pop it. Great bait. This is one of my favorites from Rapala. It's the Skitter Pop. And one of the things I love about this is you look at that cupped mouth, and it's cupped in such a way that it has a more subtle spit. Not as loud as something like a chug bug. The Skitter Pop has a more subtle spit. It's very natural, very normal sound that a bait fish would make. The other great thing about the Skitter Pop versus a lot of poppers, this one's balsa. And there's something about a wood bait on the top. Again, a little more subtle, a little more natural. But for sure, so many fish I've caught on top on a popper style. So now you've seen the two basic styles. We've got our walking bait or stick bait. We've got our popper or chug style bait. And there are scenarios when you want to pick one or the other. So let's look at those scenarios real quick on the dry erase board. Okay, broke it down into two categories for you to help you choose the correct topwater. The first one is cover, okay, and cover. And we're going to give you an A and a B, and we're going to give you a scenario for both of them. First one is A, which is tons of specific isolated cover. So we've got isolated, specific cover, okay? And isolated specific cover, we come over here and draw things like a lily pad, a single lily pad, a stump that you see sticking out of the water, a branch, targets, specific isolated cover, things that you throw at and you want to keep that topwater at that spot. For isolated specific cover, 100% we want to go with the popper. Because the popper we could throw by that lily pad, by that stump, by that log, and we could work it slower and just twitch it and it stays in place. It stays in place. The walking bait has wider motion and it wants to get away from the cover. But specific isolated cover, the popper is perfect. It keeps it right next to the cover. We want to keep it there as long as possible. The second scenario, and this is B, is separated or varied cover, right? So now we're talking about cover that's really far apart or non-specific cover, okay? Non-specific. So for this one, we don't see the cover. We don't see that log. We don't see the lily pads. But for this one, maybe we're fishing out over a flat. We don't know. We don't know what's down there. There might be a little bit of a twig down there. Maybe there's some scattered hydrilla. And we're not specifically casting at a visible target. Now, on this scenario, we have to cover water. We have to get that bait to move to find the cover. We're letting the bait draw the fish up. So when we're trying to cover a lot of water under non-specific cover, cover that we don't see, right? We don't know that target. We're going to go with the stick bait. We're going to go with the walking bait. And again, look at it. Look at it walking on the surface. As you twitch your rod, it's walking around. It's covering those vast flats of open water where there's no specific targets, okay? We're going to go with the walking bait. So cover is our first determiner. And then our second determiner, there's actually two parts to it, are wind and water clarity. Wind and water clarity. And I'm going to show you the surface of the water and give you an idea of what I'm talking about with wind. If there's no wind, if it's flat calm, or there's just a slight ripple, right? So there's your surface of the water, flat calm. Or maybe you've got just a little tiny ripple on the surface. So just a little wind or no wind. 100% the walking bait is a better bait. In that calm conditions, it makes enough noise, but it's subtle enough, right? It's just walking. And that fish looks up, it's not making a ton of noise. It's just walking along, just like a fish would try to get away or swim away. So calm or just a light wind, we're going to pick that walking bait. But the opposite is true if we have a lot of wind, okay? So now we're talking about a decent sized wind, a subtle chop, or even very windy conditions where you're actually going to have some nice wave action on the surface of the water. That walking bait is going to lose effectiveness because they can't find it, right? They look up, there's so much wave action, they can't see it, they can't hear it. If they do, a lot of times you miss them. So for wind conditions where you have a moderate to heavy wind, leave that walking bait down and switch to the popper. The popper's great because it makes a lot of noise. It makes that plunk, plunk. You can work it between waves, so you could actually wait till the wave crests and then pop it, and the fish can find it a lot easier. The other thing is that it stays in place. So when they hear it, they go up to get it. It's not walked away from them. It's still sitting right there where they heard that popping sound, and they come and eat it, okay? So wind, got more wind, use the popper. And last but not least, and this is a good one too, is water clarity. And this one's a general. So I want you to be aware of this. This is a general. For water clarity, we're going to have an A and a B too, right? For our A, we're going to have clear, and I'm talking about super clean, 5, 10, 20-foot visibility, to slightly stained. So clear water scenarios and dirty water scenarios. Now I'm talking about scenarios that are super stained, muddy. I mean, you can't see 6 inches in the water. Dirty water. So these are our two options. And 100%, listen to me, in clear to clean water, when that water's pretty clear, you've got a foot visibility to 20-foot visibility, that walking bait is a good tool. It's a better tool because it's subtle, it's walking, it's just got that little knock in it, and it looks like something trying to get away very naturally. So clean water, we're going to choose the walking bait. But the opposite is true. When we get to that dirty water, we show up to a lake or a river or a reservoir, and we look down in the water and we're like, what happened? The water's chocolate milk. It's horrible. It's muddy. You can't see 6, 8 inches in the water. You can't see down. That's when we're going to switch to that popper. And once again, the great thing about a popper, makes a ton of noise. We hit our rod tip, we twitch it, blunk, blunk, blunk. So it's spitting, it's making that chugging noise, plus it stays in place. It's a lot slower. So when that fish in that dirty water, he feels the vibrations, he hears that splashing sound. When he goes up to look, that bait's not moving very far. It's not walking away. It's staying in that zone. And those fish in dirty water will inhale a popper better than any topwater. Man, we went over a lot of scenarios for probably the 2 best topwaters ever invented. There's a lot of different ones, but the walking bait, the stick bait, the popper, the chugger, these for sure are 2 of your best baits you're going to throw on top post-spawn and summertime. Use these factors. Pick the right one, you're going to get a lot more bites. Listen to me. If you like what you heard in this In the Shop, do me a favor. Take a second. Hit the subscribe button right down there. We've got new ones coming to you every week. They're going to keep getting better and better. If you're already subscribed, do me a favor. Tell your fishing buddy to hit up the Mike Iaconelli Fishing YouTube channel and subscribe. Hope you had a good time watching this one. Good luck. Hope you catch a lot of fish. We'll see you next week.